So, I do have my notes over here because I have to like remember. I feel like Lost Kingdoms was actually the one that I had to go back and look at and remember what I thought about it, because it's been so long since I played it. It's the one downside of doing 12 games per tier list update, because like, what did I think about WWE or, you know, Red Card, or like, I guess Red Card wasn't that long ago, but I don't know, man. Lost Kingdoms feels like a million years ago. But see, it's actually, when I was thinking about, yeah, I mean, it's been a month since we've done the last tier list update. Per 100 games, I couldn't even remember. Like, I couldn't even remember. But anyway, when I was thinking about this last night, I was like doing a mock tier list update last night, thinking about where I would put, and Lost Kingdoms was actually like the one that I had to think about the most. So I liked Lost Kingdoms. The only thing that I don't like about it is the final level is. The final level in that game is so crazy. It's a good game. It seems like it's a very well made game, and I like the concept of it. I like the combat. It's kind of like, I called it real time Yu-Gi-Oh, because that's pretty much what it is. It has lots of different levels with a lot of variety. But I remember the music being really repetitive, and that's not, I mean, usually I don't even really notice the music, but it was like the same song in every level. Yeah, zero. Well, the thing about it is, like, it would be one thing if the entire game was hard, but it was really only the last level that was actually hard. Like, I think the first level, the very beginning of it, is kind of tough because they expect you to learn the game mechanics. Yeah, I know. And then the puzzle ended up being impossible, like literally impossible, because I was missing information. Like, I was supposed to do something else. The way I was trying to solve it there was no way to solve it. I had to like do part of the puzzle, go up the steps, flip a switch, and then come back and do the rest of it. Like, it was impossible the way I was trying to solve it. It's not really the game's fault. Like, I really should have just noticed the switch and gone up to it, but whatever. But if the entire game was crazy hard, it'd be one thing. But it's really, the first part of it's hard because they're expecting you to learn the gameplay mechanics. God Emperor Rage mentioned that it seemed to have knowledge checks. That was like when I was playing the game at the very beginning. He said that, and it's kind of true, actually. The first level, it has that kind of stuff. And then the last level it's ridiculous. I think it was 4, maybe 5 hours playing the game up to the final level. And then I spent 4 hours playing the final level. So the final level was almost half of the game for me. And that's... I also don't like that there are secrets that are permanently missable, because you can't replay the levels you've already been to. Which actually sucks even more, because there's no like grinding. You can't do any like experience points grinding except in the final level. So like, if you want to go back and try to find one of the secrets that you missed, you can't do it. And that kind of sucks. But I actually think the game's it's a good little game. I hope the sequel fixes the problems that I had with this one. So I guess what I'm saying is I like it, and I'm looking forward to playing the second one. So it's not bad, but it's also not like, I wouldn't particularly recommend it. I guess it's good. I would say it's kind of on kind of like somewhere in here, like somewhere in the middle. It's just like it's okay. It's actually good until the final level, and then just really falls off a cliff. Yeah, yeah. That's the thing. Like I had to look up a like a strategy, and the strategy is you just cheese it. There's the final level can be wiped out in like 5 minutes if you have the right combo, and you just cheese the final boss. It's crazy. But when I was thinking about it last night, I put Lost Kingdoms down here, and I think that's the trick is that you gig. I put Lost Kingdoms down here, which is kind of weird to put it below FIFA but above NBA, but I guess something has to go there. It's one of the things I was kind of laughing about it last night. I was like, yeah, it's better than NBA, but it's not as good as FIFA. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. But but I guess it works, because I don't think it's as good as these ones, but it's not as bad as these games. So it's like, I don't know, barely zero. I went back and I looked at a video of me playing it to remember, and it's okay. That's why I put it in B tier. I guess it's fine. I actually originally put FIFA in the C tier, but then I played some of these other random soccer games, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, actually FIFA's good. Hold on a second. And I feel like I've kind of done that with Madden. Like, I played Madden 2002 first, but I think if I had more football games to compare it to, I'd probably actually put it higher up. But we have a couple of football games coming up, so I guess football season is about to start in this. And actually looking at the dates these games were released, yeah, football season is about to start, so I'll be interested to see. I feel like I might have actually underrated Madden 2002, because when I played this NCAA game, I actually really enjoyed it, so maybe Madden is not as boring as I originally thought. So if I play Madden 2003 and I like it, I might look at, I'm not saying I would play it for that long, but I would probably look at 2002 and see, maybe I just underrated it. Maybe it should go like up here instead of down there. Oh, and I forgot to make changes to the tier list before I started this. I was going to put Home Run King down here. I think that's the only thing I changed, because I was looking at this too, and I just realized that this game is terrible. The one thing that Home Run King does well is that it has some decent customization options, but it's bad. It's bad. Anyway, that's the one thing I wanted to change. But I think Lost Kingdoms is fine right there. It's okay. It's good. I'm looking forward to the sequel. Dude, I love this music. Zoo Cube. Let me kind of get this down a little bit better so you can see it. Kind of cut off. Zoo Cube. One rating? What do you mean? Oh, you were looking at the website. Yeah. I forgot I made that public, so I could see, you guys could actually see like the notes I've been taking. It's actually not, those are not all the notes I've been taking, but yeah, if you look through, I think for Spy Hunter I wrote that, yeah, Pros has the Blues Brothers theme song. Like, what was I thinking? I mean, that's not a bad thing, but it's just such a random thing to write down. Yeah, you know a game is bad when it's like good main menu music is the one of the upsides to the game. I don't know. Anyway, Zoo Cube. I don't know. See, we have Tetris and then we have Zoo Cube in the same block of games. Tetris is obviously much, much better than Zoo Cube. It's not even close. I thought Zoo Cube was weirdly kind of fun, but it's a cereal box game. I mean, that's kind of what it is. I just don't see why it was on GameCube. It's such a simple game. It's too easy, honestly. I feel like I could just keep playing it forever. And not that I would want to, but I feel like I had to end the puzzle because I was like, okay, I've been playing for 30 minutes and it's still easy, so like, what am I supposed to do? I just feel like there's no reason to acclaim tier. Yeah, I feel like it's not bad. It does what it's designed to do, but I just don't think it's worth playing, so I'm putting it in F tier. But that being said, I don't think it's bad. I just think it's like nothing, right? It's like just playing with a piece of paper or something like that. It's just, yeah, I guess you can have fun, but whatever. Anyway, Bomberman Generation. I have a lot more to say about Bomberman Generation. It's not bad, F tier. It does what it's designed to do, but I just don't think it's worth playing at all. Bomberman Generation. I have a lot more to say about Bomberman Generation. So, Bomberman Generation is the most... I have this is an SD card holder, by the way. I just keep playing with this. This kind of reminds me of playing Zoo Cube, how simple it is. Anyway, but there's some things that it does really well, some things I actually really like, and then some things that I just do not like at all about it, that are horrible. So you probably looked, if you saw on my notes in the website, but it has good graphics, right? Yes. Anyway, but I love the art. I actually really love the art style in this. I gotta put this thing down. I love the art style. I like the sound effects. I like the kind of atmosphere. Maybe not atmosphere is not the right word, but the game, it doesn't really take itself too seriously. You know, maybe that's not even really the right thing to say either, but I guess I like the way the game is presented. Like it's like a cartoon, right? So I think that's really good. The graphics are good. The art style is really good. I like the sound effects. I like the Carabombs. There was the Andler was the one that I loved the most, but the Palmu Dragon was really good too. The sounds they make is just really funny. But I actually think that it starts out really, really slow, Bomberman Generation, but like World 1, it's kind of a slog to get through, I would say. But Worlds 2 and 3 are actually really good. I actually think the puzzles, they get a little bit more challenging. In World 1, I don't know, it's just so slow. But then World 2 and 3, there's actually some real puzzles that you have to solve. But the levels are also so long. The levels are like 20 minutes each. And there's no checkpoints. So there were multiple times where I would die at the end of a level, and then I'd have to replay the whole thing. Or I would get through a level, and then at the end there would be this crazy boss fight, and then I would have to replay the whole level because I would die, because the bosses are insane. The bosses are just... There's no reason for the bosses in this game to be as difficult as they are, but I don't know. They're crazy. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm having to look at my notes over here because sometimes I don't even remember the way the power-ups are handled. I was actually thinking about this while I was driving to work one day. I was thinking about Bomberman Generation because I just finished playing it. And I thought about, what would I do to make it better? Like, if I was going to make Bomberman Generation a better game, I think I would make the power-ups like permanent. I think I would make the speed power-ups permanent. Not have them as common as they are in the game, but maybe you find something like a gold speed power-up and it makes you go faster permanently. You know, you can find gold heart containers and they increase your health permanently. But there are still regular hearts you can pick up. So I think there could have been more permanent power-ups, and then within the stages you could also find little speed boosts, temporary speed boosts. But yeah, is it real? I didn't even realize it was a GameCube exclusive, but yeah, I guess it is, or at least it was when it was released. But you know, maybe having those temporary, like in Super Mario, I mean, you get a star and you're invincible for a short time, but it's not forever, right? But I think the single player mode could have benefited from having, you know, just some design changes like that. It sounds crazy, but you know, the permanent power-ups. But when you take a game that was designed for multiplayer, like Bomberman, and you adapt it to this single player kind of game, you have to make some changes to it. You have to. The multiplayer in this game, though, is great. I only played it for like half an hour, but man, it was so much fun. It has bot support too, so you can play just by yourself like I did. But with 4 players, I mean, it's classic Bomberman. So I actually think that Bomberman Generation is great multiplayer. Single player is, it's okay. Single player's fine. So look over here just to make sure. But yeah, I think when I was thinking about the tier list, I was thinking about, okay, where is the cutoff point? Like, which of these, obviously these are the games that I love, but how far down do I have to go on the tier list before I say, okay, I don't like this? Yeah. I think, I don't know what the story is, like if that was the first one they made, but it got released later or something, like in Japan. I don't know exactly how it happened, but anyway. But I was thinking, it's probably somewhere around here. This is the cutoff point. Like anything below this point, like cell damage, it's probably fine in multiplayer, but I didn't really care for it while I was playing it. And everything kind of below that is like, yeah, I don't care about any of this. Smashing Drive was fun while I was playing it, but it has 0 replay value. Virtua Striker is like, it's so bad, but it's also really good. Like it does some unique and interesting things that make it worth playing, but it's a bad game, but it's interesting. And then this is where it starts, like these games are actually okay. And I think Bomberman Generation is like right there. It's like right at that cutoff point. So I'm putting it right there. Should I put it above Smashing Drive? What did I do last night when I was thinking about it? I put it here too last night, so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm thinking Bomberman Generation is right there. It's at that cutoff point. It's like middle of C tier. Now in multiplayer, it's great. Don't get me wrong, multiplayer, super fun. But the single player, they needed to make some changes to it to make it a better single player game. All right, WrestleMania. I have to stop myself from calling it WrestleMania X8. But WrestleMania 18. I didn't like it. It's not as bad as Legends of Wrestling, though. I will say that it is better than Legends of Wrestling. It's a whole lot better than UFC Throwdown, by the way, but we'll get to that. WrestleMania, the character creator in this is pretty good. It's a lot better than Legends of Wrestling. Legends of Wrestling, the customization, it's like, okay, you're making your guy, and you have different sliders for like your right, whatever this is, and then your forearm, like different thickness, different amount of muscle. And then you have to do each arm separately, and you have to back out and go to a different menu. So whenever you're like making your characters like shoe size or whatever, you go to left foot, and then you scroll down and you find shoe size or foot size or whatever it says. You bump that up or down, and then you back out, go to the right foot, scroll down, do the same thing. It's like, wait, was the slider here or was it there? Like where your characters are gonna have different size feet. His one foot's gonna be slightly bigger than the other because but in this one much more streamlined. Much, they just have like foot size, or arm, like the amount of muscles on your arms, like the amount of like bulk on your chest, like just simple. So I think on paper it might have fewer options, but the character creator in this is just a lot better. In Legends of Wrestling, I tried to make myself, right? I tried to make myself, but I ended up looking like that guy from the B movie. The guy, the human being. I ended up looking like him. It's like stupid. But in this one's a lot better. That's not saying much. Like I said, the Legends of Wrestling is terrible, but but that's what I look like. I walked right into that one. So WrestleMania, when I was thinking about where to put this, like it's not a great game, but I don't even want to put it in the same tier as Legends of Wrestling, so I'm putting it's down here. It's like I can see maybe getting some enjoyment out of it, but it's pretty far down the list. So I'm thinking it's a little bit above Legends of Wrestling. You know what? It probably is. And it's the hit detection. It's way better than Legends of Wrestling. In Legends of Wrestling, I feel like my guy just goes like, and then like sometimes you hit the guy, but in this one I feel like there's actual different moves you can do. So this one, it is a better game, but I personally did not enjoy it that much. All right, now Eternal Darkness. So when I first played Eternal Darkness, at the very end of it, I was talking about, do I like it better than Resident Evil or not? That was what I asked, and I had to think about it for a minute. Do I like it better than Resident Evil or not? And I think the answer to that is no. No, I don't. I don't think it's as good as Resident Evil. I think there are some things that Eternal Darkness does very well, but I think there are a lot of things near the end of the game, especially, that it does very wrong. Yeah. But I don't know, there's just a handful of puzzles in that game that just have no obvious solution. Or it doesn't have to have an obvious solution, but there's no way that you would even guess the solution. I think if it was more obvious that that's what you were supposed to do, then, or if that was even an option. I didn't even consider that being a possibility, because you never had to do anything like that up to that point in the game. The biggest offender was the part where there's this like purple magic looking stuff on the ground, and when you step on it, your character goes insane and you have to go back. But the solution was to actually crouch and walk on it. Like, why? You step on it and bad things happen, so why would I step on it again? I'm thinking that, it's like some kind of magic thing, like I gotta use some kind of spell to get rid of it. No, you just walk on it. It's just, I don't know. There's a few things this game, the boss fight against the Guardian, whatever it was called, the green thing, was just very, very unintuitive. I still think it's a great game, don't get me wrong. And I was thinking about where would I put it. Where do I put it? It's not as good as Resident Evil. So I don't think it's S tier. It's not S tier. But it's obviously a good game. And I would still recommend playing it. Just if you do play it and you get stuck somewhere, just look up how to get past whatever part you're at, because the solution is probably not something you can figure out. It's just not something really anybody can figure out. So I was thinking, okay, do I like it better than NBA Street? Do I like it better than NFL Blitz? Like, and so I was thinking about it compared to Luigi's Mansion. I like it better than Luigi's Mansion. So there's that. So it's above Luigi's Mansion, below Resident Evil. And I was thinking, okay, well, there's 3 games right here to compare it to. And they're all, I mean, Gauntlet is the one that's probably the most similar, but it's not even at all. It's like 10% similar. Burnout is a racing game, so it's like, is it better than Burnout? I don't know. They're like completely different games. But I will say that Eternal Darkness has more content than Burnout, but I don't know. Burnout's fun too. And then Gauntlet, it's a really, really long game, and it has some issues. It has a few bugs, but I thought it was still really fun. And then Pac-Man World 2 is like the greatest. I love Pac-Man World 2. In fact, and I thought the only reason that I didn't put Pac-Man World 2 up in the S tier is that there are some parts of it that are really annoying. And then it hit me. I was like, Eternal Darkness is great, but there's a few parts that are annoying. So that means Eternal Darkness is equal to Pac-Man World 2. There you go. So that was my thought. It just hit me one day. I was like, yes, that's what I'm going to do. So I think it's right there. I'm putting it below Pac-Man World 2 because I love Pac-Man. But I think it's good. I'd highly recommend it. But there are some parts about it that, you know, no, Pac-Man World 2 would be up here. But it's got some annoying things in it. Resident Evil, but you're shooting at Pac-Man. But no, I think Eternal Darkness is good. It has a great atmosphere. It's a lot like Resident Evil in that way, where it's just like they just perfected like the way everything sounds. You're in the mansion and it's like spooky just being in there. And there's like, you can hear like people knocking on the door, but nobody's there. Like all kinds of weird things are happening. The jump scare is really funny. There's one jump scare in it that got me. It's pretty funny. And the sanity is interesting. Although I do think the sanity can be kind of predictable near the end, but by that you're at the end of the game by that point, it doesn't matter as much. But you know, it has New Game Plus. It has like replayability. So there's that. I think it's a great game, but there's a few nonsense moments in there. So, like I said, I think it's better than most of these games. Although, I mean, it's, you know, it just depends on how you feel one day. It's like, oh, maybe I like Gauntlet better. I think when you're this close in the tier list, it's like plus or minus a couple spots, you know. Yeah. So I think it's good. I think it's fun. But it's not an S tier game. Anyway, moving on to F1 2002. F1 2002 it's kind of like the opposite of like Bomberman Generation, as weird as it sounds. Like Bomberman Generation does some things great and it does some things really bad. F1 2002 just does everything like okay. It's fine. I like the challenge mode in it. I think the driving is fine. It's not like super realistic, but it's not too, I don't know, it's not like Spy Hunter driving. It's not like Extreme G or anything. It's like pretty realistic, but still kind of feels like a video game, I guess. It's okay. I think it's fine. So I think like C tier is probably a little too low. But I don't think it's as good as a lot of these games. So I'm thinking it's like a bottom of B tier kind of, you know, I'm putting it down here. It's like, it's fine. It's kind of the same way I felt about NBA. It's fine. Doesn't do anything wrong. It's just NBA. It's just F1. Red Card. Red Card was made by the same people that made NFL Blitz, the same studio. NFL Blitz 2002. Not 2002, though, by the way. They call it in the game 2002. And Red Card 2003. I was so excited because I knew it was made by these people. And then there's also NHL Hits, which is amazing. But this one's just not it. I hate to say it. But it's okay. It's a little disappointing. It has very little customization. Like, the only customization that it has is that you can basically rename players. You can, like, you take the existing players from the team and you can rename them. And that's it. You can't change your uniform colors. You can change the team name. So I called it, like, what did I call it? Like the Space Nation or something like that. I forgot what I called it. No, I think I called it GameCube Nation, right? Or GameCube Land or something like that. I forgot what I named it. But anyway, so I just took, it was a country that started with the letter A. It was a Middle Eastern country, I think, or African. I forgot which one it was, but anyway, I just took the first country and I was like, oh, okay, I don't really care about them. So I'll replace that team. But I think it was Algeria. But anyway, but it's just, it's kind of like F1. This one is just very egregiously okay. It doesn't do anything good or anything like really good. I mean, it's fine. It doesn't do anything really that bad, except for the customization just really sucks. But so I think it's really disappointing coming from NFL Blitz or NHL Hits. I want the soccer version of NFL Blitz, right? And this just isn't it. I think it's okay. It's probably, it's somewhere around here. It's just okay. So I'm putting it at the top of C tier, which means we get the first double-decker tier. So there you go. So the C tier is now 2 tiers high. I wish I could make the tier list a little bit wider, but I can't. Tier Maker doesn't let me do that. All right. Tetris Worlds. Now, I love Tetris. I love NES Tetris. The old Nintendo Entertainment System, Tetris. That, to me, that's the first thing I think of when somebody says Tetris. But this is not NES Tetris. So, there are things I like about Tetris Worlds. First, it is Tetris, so it's obviously good, but it's not amazing. As far as Tetra goes, I was thinking, I guess I read Sega there. I don't know. As far as Tetris goes, it's okay. It's actually not like a great version of Tetris. Like, there's multiple other Tetris games that are better than this one. But as far as I know, this is the only one on GameCube. It has some mini games in there that are actually kind of interesting. Like Square Tetris is kind of cool. There's different ones. There's 6 different ones, I think, or maybe 7. I can't remember exactly how many there are. Some of them are pretty similar to each other. But I don't know. I just like the regular Tetris better. Anyway, I think there are a couple of things that make this game not super great, and that is the graphics, which you wouldn't think graphics would matter in a Tetris game, but the colors are just really muted, which is kind of disappointing. I mean, if you look at the cover of the game, it's like the colors are they just pop out, but the actual game looks nothing like that. And another thing, I didn't even notice this at first, but when you hold the button to rotate the pieces keep rotating. Like, what's supposed to happen is you press the button once, and then you have to press it again to rotate it another time. But there, if you're not like me, like I press the button like really fast and I let go of it, just like that. But not everybody's like that, I guess. So I don't know. You might rotate the pieces multiple times and do that on accident. But speaking of rotating the pieces multiple times, you can actually delay the piece lock in. So what happens when you drop a piece down, it's supposed to lock in. Like when it hits the ground, it locks in. But then what you can do is you can actually flip the piece and just kind of keep moving it around on the playfield. And you can actually do that forever. Like you can just keep flipping the piece and it resets that lock-on time. Now I'm used to NES Tetris, where in NES Tetris, as soon as it hits the ground, bam, it locks in and you can't move it. But in modern Tetris games, I think this was the first one to do that. But that's how all the modern Tetris games are now. But they're not as lenient as this one is. So it actually makes some things a lot easier, but I don't know, as far as Tetris games go, this one is actually kind of bad. But as far as GameCube games go, it's obviously better than all this stuff. I mean, it's just Tetris, right? Worst case scenario, you'd just play some Tetris. But I actually think that it kind of crosses that line of like it's okay. It's fine. So I'm going to put it right there. I'm thinking about it though. Does it go there? I love this music, by the way. Yeah, I think Bomberman Generations is a little bit better because of the multiplayer. It's just Tetris. I mean, it's great, but this version of it is not super amazing. All right, MX Superfly. Now I know, I know that Ollie loves MX Superfly, and I think it's good too. The first day that I played it, this was a 2-stream game. The first day that I played it, I didn't really like it because I was doing the the circuit mode or whatever they call it, the races, and they're actually not super great. The controls take some getting used to, and I think the racing is just it's not that great. But the freestyle mode is actually really fun. I liked it. I think it's a much better game when you're just playing by yourself and trying to get like a high score or something, and that's what the freestyle mode is. But trying to race against the AI, then I swear they just cheat. It's impossible. It's impossible. But the freestyle mode is actually really good, and it encourages you to explore. I had a lot of fun just trying to get out of bounds and try to jump over and get out of the map, try to do things, get to places I wasn't supposed to get to. I had a lot of fun just doing that kind of stuff. So I think MX Superfly is actually pretty good. So I was comparing it to, Dave Mirra. I was like, okay, it's probably a little bit better. It has more content than Dave Mirra, and I think there's more to do and exploring the maps and stuff. There's a lot more stuff to find. In Dave Mirra doesn't really have any Easter eggs or anything. It's a lot of empty maps, which is fine when you're just going for high scores and all that, but you can go for high scores in MX Superfly too. So I think the maps having more to them, being a little bit more interesting. So I think it's better than Dave Mirra. And I was thinking about what other games do I compare it to? And I was looking at the B tier up here. And the closest thing I can compare it to is actually SSX Tricky. It's kind of the same idea. I played SSX Tricky, I played the races, and it has the race mode and then it has the high score mode. And I think it's actually kind of the same way. The races are okay, but the high scores are the best way to play the game. That's the way it's designed to be played. It has a lot of maps, interesting stuff. You can get out of bounds in SSX Tricky. Like, it doesn't stop you from just jumping over the wall and, I guess snowboarding, skating, I don't know what you would do. Riding out of bounds and just going down the mountains that are just all over the place. You can just do it. I mean, it'll try to get you back in bounds if you go too far, but there are ways around that. So it's kind of interesting, and I think MX Superfly is kind of in that same quality. I think it's kind of like that. So I actually think I enjoyed MX Superfly more than SSX Tricky. So I think it's better than that, but I think it's probably somewhere around here. So I think MX Superfly is, I don't know, these are all kind of the same quality. I think MX Superfly is probably going to go like right here or maybe right here. It's not better than Agent Under Fire. I'm not putting it above Agent Under Fire, but it's either going below Star Wars or above Star Wars. Star Wars, it has good replay value because you can go for all the gold medals and stuff, but I think it has some really awkward mission design. Like the missions in that are just, some of them are just really confusing. I think I'm putting MX Superfly above it. I'm putting MX Superfly right there. I think it's fine. It is a tier above Dave Mirra. That's what I'm going to say. And that's where I'm putting it. As long as you ignore the racing mode. If you play the racing mode, it's like down here. But the actual mode, the freestyle mode, that's the way to play it. So that's where I'm putting it. All right. NCAA football 2003. I actually weirdly enjoyed this game. This game is actually really good. So for those that don't know, I actually prefer college football to NFL. So college football is not as big of a thing outside of America, but college football just has a certain culture to it that NFL just does not have. Every university has its own traditions and different lore that they have. I think it's really interesting, and there's so much history to it. There's a lot I don't know about it because I wasn't really a fan of college football back then. I'm barely a fan of it now, if I'm being honest. I just like Alabama, but I didn't build the stadium in the desert. Yeah, it had to be rural. It was in Montgomery, Alabama. There are no deserts in Montgomery, Alabama. Come on, no deserts. I wanted to be realistic there. But this game actually has a ton of features. So you can create custom teams, custom players, and the stadium, like the team creator option is so in depth. You can change like where the scoreboard is at in the stadium. Like, it's crazy. There's all kinds of features. You can design the stadium the way you want. It's really good. It's actually a really good game. The only bad thing about this game is that it takes so much space on your memory card that, like, if I played this game, if I played a real copy of it with my real memory card, I would not be able to. I have this memory card right here. I would not be able to save the game because this memory card is pretty much full. So it takes over 200 blocks of memory to save your game. As far as I know, that's actually not unique to the GameCube. That's just a problem with the game, because all the sports games are like that. All the NCAA games are, and I think Madden too is like that. But NCAA, I'm gonna have to play the next one with a bigger memory card. But I actually think this game is really good. I liked it. So I expected it to be on par with Madden 2002, but I was very surprised. So I think it's at least here. I was very surprised. But it might even be higher than this. God, it might be. I might be putting it like way up here. because there's some inconsistency with this tier list. Like there are times where I'm like, should All-Star Baseball really be up in the A tier? Like, is All-Star Baseball that great? Maybe I have to go back and play it again. It is really good though. It's the best baseball game we've played. But it's like, dang, I actually really liked this NCAA game, so I might even put it like up here. This game is really good. God. Yeah, it's the one reason I haven't gone back to them is because if I do this game, the gauntlet will never end. I might put it up there though. Wow, Alpine, that's crazy. Well, I hope on GameCube they're a little bit more limited than that. Because I don't even think the big memory cards hold that much. So they must have done something different for those versions. But God, I want to put in, but I don't think I can say that NCAA football is better than Agent Under Fire. I think I'm going to put it above these. I'm putting it right. Yeah, NCAA football. I'm thinking it's not as good. Like, I would rather play Agent Under Fire, don't get me wrong. But as far as football games go, this one's really good. I can't wait to play 2004 because I hope it's even better than this. 2004 might be an A tier game. I don't know. Or maybe it just falls off a cliff after that. I don't know. But NCAA, this game is far and away better than Madden. Maybe I should okay, Madden 2003 is the next game after Smuggler's Run, so maybe I'll change my mind, but this game is just awesome. It's so much better than Madden 2002 at least. Dang, Zero, that's crazy. All right, UFC Throwdown. UFC Throwdown is awful. This is one of the worst games in the gauntlet so far. I mean, spoiler, I guess you already know where I'm putting it, but this game, I found out within like 10 minutes of playing the game that if you select the left jab as one of your moves, like just a quick punch, the CPUs can do almost nothing to stop it. Because what happens is they have their startup animation, so they're doing like this to try to punch you, and then you just punch them in the face while they're doing that. This game, yeah, the grabs are, you just have to, if you play against a character that does that, then you just have to adjust your strategy. But I do not see the appeal of this game at all. This game has 2,000 followers on Twitch, by the way. I checked it. But I'm putting it down here. I think 18-wheeler, the parking mode in that is fine. The actual... These games are all terrible, though. I mean, they're equally bad. But I think this UFC Throwdown game is... The only good thing about it is that you can customize your character. And even the customization is not great. You can change like your pants color, shorts color, or whatever. You can change like your height and weight. And you have like a couple of faces to choose from. It refuses. No, it's... That Jeremy McGrath game is... I was playing it... I played this game today to get footage for a YouTube video, and it's bad. It's bad. It's horrible. Ugh. So I think this is worse than 18-wheeler. Just because the parking minigame in 18-wheeler is at least okay. And like Batman Vengeance at least has Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy in it, but like Jeremy McGrath isn't Mark Hamill. I don't care who he is. That sounds so mean when I say that. I'm sure Jeremy McGrath is a fine person. The 18-wheeler stream was really fun. The 18-wheeler at least has the... You can laugh at it, you know. Jeremy McGrath is not that way. And UFC Throwdown is just like, it's pitiful. Alright. Last on the list is Aggressive Inline. So... yeah, I just realized now, actually, you guys can't even see the... there we go. That's what I need to do. Okay. Aggressive Inline. So, Aggressive Inline, I was also playing this today as well. I played it, last stream, but then I played it today as well. And, just offline. And I actually think it's really good. I think it's great. It's not as good as Tony Hawk. But dang, it's actually it's very clear to me that, okay, the people it was made by the same studio that made Dave Mirra Freestyle BMX 2. But it was made by the same studio, but it's very clear to me that they saw Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, probably not the third one, probably more like Pro Skater 1 or 2. But anyway, they saw one of those games and they were like, oh man, this is what we need to be doing. Hold on. And they did it. They just made Pro Skater. That's pretty much what it is. I think the levels are pretty well designed. There's a lot of... I don't want to say it's like... I mean, it is replayable. But there's... like, you can play a level and then unlock something in a previous level. There's keys that you can find that you can use to unlock more stuff, more parts of the map in previous levels. S tier. No, it's not S tier. It's not S tier. I do think it's good. I do think that it's better than MX Superfly, so it's probably somewhere up here. I'm not going to put it in S tier. I think it's really good, though. I would highly recommend playing it. I think... when I was playing the tutorial, I was like, this game is going to be pretty rough. And then the first level, I was like trying to figure out how to play it. But then once I figured out how to play it, it was actually really good. But how good is it? I am thinking it's better than All-Star Baseball. Bloody Roar is pretty good. That's the problem, is that all these games are so good. They're all about the same quality because they're in the same tier. I think Aggressive Inline's going up here somewhere. This is really good thinking music. B+. I'm not bringing back the pluses. I was looking at my old tier lists, and I don't know what I was thinking, having the A+ and A-, and then like CDF right there, like at the bottom. But like, I kind of want to play NCAA. I kind of want to play more NCAA football. Oh man, I guess we're gonna get plenty of football coming up. Yeah, we've got a lot of football coming up. We have a lot of football just like we had a lot of soccer just a little bit ago. I'm just waiting for the golf games, man. I want to play some PGA Tour. Where am I putting it? All right. I'm thinking right there. That's where I'm thinking. Because I'm looking at Luigi's Mansion. I'm like, okay. Would I rather play Aggressive Inline or Luigi's Mansion? I think I'd rather play Aggressive Inline. And I think being right between MX Superfly and Pro Skater 3 is like, well, it's not directly between them. Directly between them would be where Gauntlet is, but we'll just pretend like there's going to be more games in the future. Virtua Beach Volleyball. I hope to answer that question soon. Would I rather play Aggressive Inline or Virtua Beach Volleyball? Yeah, that's the number of games that were released for the GameCube drops off a cliff after 2003. So I need to actually look and see like the number of sport or like the percentage of sports games per year, because I actually looked at it. About 25% of the games are sports games. And that's not counting F1. It's only counting like football, soccer, basketball, baseball, golf, hockey. Like it's only counting like the ball sports. It feels like it's a lot more than 25%. But if you look at this, all right, so we've got one right there, NHL hits. We've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're not going to count F1. 9. International Winter Sports. Does that count? It has sports in the title. I'm counting it. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Does UFC count? I didn't count WrestleMania, so. What was that, 18 out of 60? That's 30%. It is a sports game, but it's not a ball sport game. If you count UFC and wrestling, then that's 1/3. WWE Sports Entertainment. But if we want to be more, we want to include everything that is a sport, regardless of, maybe not like extreme sports where we're not counting, Tony Hawk. We're not counting like MX Superfly. We're not counting like Burnout, but we're counting the ones that are based on real sports. Well, I guess skateboarding is a real sport, but you get what I mean. So there's 1. Well, we had 18. So which ones did we not count? We didn't count F1, so that's 19. What else did we not count? Was there anything up here? Okay, well, it's about 1/3 still. Okay, there's another Formula One game, so that's 20. 21, 22, or 21, 22. Yeah, so it's 22 out of 60. Oh, okay, so 23 out of 60. So that means 38%. That's 38%. So anyway, let's look this over and make sure, just check everything. I didn't put anything in the S tier. I didn't play any S tier, I didn't play any games that I think really I thought maybe Eternal Darkness might have been at the time, but I thought it over and it's not. But I haven't played anything that surprised me, you know, anything that was like, oh man, this game, this is S tier. NHL Hits surprised me with how good it was. The rest of these games, I kind of knew they were going to be good, but, you know, just playing them, it kind of confirmed to me that they were good. So, he's on right now. There's probably, let me look. I usually don't raid people. I just always forget about it. I know who I'm going to raid though. But anyway, I guess we will raid somebody, but it's not going to be anybody. Well,
simple. But we did get a meme out.
No, anyway, let me look this over. Okay, looking at this, I always try to get the North American cover art for these games, but sometimes I can't. Or sometimes they're the same, but like this one, you can very, very, very slightly see that says PAL right there. This white text right there. In the NTSC cover, these logos are in a slightly different order or whatever. And I think this bottom part is black on the NTSC one. But it's the same cover art. It's just... But I always try to get the North American one. The Xbox cover. Knowing it's it. But Aggressive Inline, I was looking for covers for like Aggressive Inline. UFC Throwdown, I couldn't find a clear image of the UFC Throwdown cover. I couldn't find one. So this one, you can't really tell because these pictures are so small. But if you actually like looked at the original image, it's like this big. It's like that big. So it looks fine on the tier list, but I just couldn't. I could only find thumbnails of it. Japanese, not a bad idea. I might actually do that. GoldenEye Dark Agent. I might do that. Korean. I don't know of any games that... I think Agent Under Fire was released in Korea, but it was only on PS2. I don't know how many Korean GameCube games there even are. Let me think about all this though. I'm sad about Red Card, man. I'm so sad about it. It's, like I said, I think it deserves the spot that it's in. It's just so okay. It's the most okay game I've ever played. Well, no, it's the most okay game I've ever played is probably like F1. It's okay. That's from now on, if I say a game is just, it's okay, bottom of B tier, or maybe top of C tier, depending on whether or not I think it's good. Like this one disappointed me, so it's C tier. This one is just, it's exactly what I expected to be, and it's fine, so that's why it's B tier. The Japanese box. Oh, really? I'd like to, what game was it? I'd like to see that. I was actually looking at some Japanese games on eBay. They're so much cheaper. It's crazy. If I was going to go for a full collection of all the games, including the Japanese ones, I would get a lot of Japanese games because they're like a quarter of the price. Like you could get all the Mario Party games on GameCube for less than the price of like one of them for, you know, a North American copy. If you want to get all the Mario Party games in a lot on eBay, I mean, it's like $400 if you want to get all of them. It's so crazy. For 4 games. Meanwhile, you can get all of them, the Japanese versions, with the box. Like with the original little sleeve thing that it came in, or whatever. And it's like, yeah, it's like I was debating on whether or not I would pay like the $3 that Madden 06 costed at the thrift store I went to one time. I was like, do I really want to buy this? I figured, hey, if I'm ever going to get it, it's never going to get cheaper than this. Malibu Party. I liked the whispering voice in Tetris Worlds. The ASMR Tetris. Oh, I know which one you're talking about. It's that Codename Kids Next Door game. They say it doesn't work in Nintendo. I would just emulate it before I pay real money for it. BMX. That is a thing. I'm gonna have to put BMX Triple X on the tier list. At some point. I'm gonna have to do that. It's just crazy. Yeah, I know it. Exactly, Zero. Kickstream. Oh, that's funny. No, I'll probably just play it offline. I'll probably record it locally if I can put it on YouTube. Have you, I mean, yeah, I hate that I can't stream it on Twitch at least. Because it's probably, I mean, from what I've seen of the game, it's got some very edgy humor in it, and some of it's honestly kind of funny, but it's more like, I can't believe they just said that kind of humor, you know. The YouTube stream. I'd probably have to stream it on some adult site. What are you talking about? Like some kind of like mature game stream or something like that on YouTube? Is that what you mean? I'm just thinking about just the thought of me on one of those kind of streaming on one of those sites, some Pornhub or whatever, streaming on there. Just so stupid. No, I'm not doing that. That's not gonna happen. Ooh. Oh, okay. That's not happening. Yeah, I'll have to figure out something. Stream it. Increase range of motion. What the heck? I'm gonna have to figure out something because, you know, it's gonna be really funny, or maybe it's just gonna be really disappointing. I don't know. But maybe like it might have to be a Discord stream. I don't know. Maybe because I know I said about like adults. I would not actually want to stream it on some adult site. If YouTube, I wouldn't want to stream it on my main YouTube channel because that would be kind of awkward. You know, it would be. Yeah, it might be like a second channel stream. You know, Fitterspace 2. Let me see when BMX Triple X is actually coming up. It's game number 148. Well, Kick probably is the safest thing. I mean, does that have a chat? I mean, I'm pretty sure that's just like a porn site, isn't it? But that's probably actually the safest, because there's no way I'd get banned there from playing BMX Triple X. YouTube would probably not be too kind, especially if there's nudity. But I don't know, maybe if I play as a clothed character, there'd probably be, probably be fine. There are videos on YouTube of BMX Triple X. Yeah, well, we'd have to be a little bit safe. I don't know. But that's something we'll have to talk about when we get there, because, like I said, it's game number 148, so we're not even halfway to getting there yet. Anyway. So, we'll have to figure that out later. I think I'm okay with this tier list how it is. I kind of like how it's pretty evenly distributed, too. I mean, there are fewer games in S tier than I would like. But that's not my fault, it's the game's fault. But yeah, that was part of my goal here with getting the bell curve. Originally I had like A+, A-, and then it was just, I think this is a good distribution. C having the most makes sense to me. So I think I'm locking this in. This is the tier list. Yeah, that's it. It's gonna go somewhere. It's gotta go somewhere. But anyway, I will see you guys tomorrow. We'll do an early stream because it's Saturday tomorrow, so we'll stream earlier. We'll probably beat Smuggler's Run. Maybe play a little bit of Madden if I beat the game in time. If I beat the game in 2 more hours of playtime, then, No, I don't think I'm gonna... Probably not gonna raid it. Well, I'll raid somebody, but it's not just... just somebody that I always watch. So I am going to be watching Abney after this. So we'll do, how do I raid? I pretty much always watch Abney. So anyway, let's see, I guess I'll just, there we go. I'll see you then. Take care.